not even finish the altar, you need a boost. Nah, the God DH can do the whisper. Like even if I use this setup, the T16, this T16 setup can do the whisper. Even this setup can do the whisper. Did I loot everything? Yeah. Even I mean, obviously when you have lacking ancients like that, you will feel bad about the whisper. But generally, you only really need the T16 build to do the ancient ring. Cooldown, life per hit. Physic. I like how. Wait, cooldown. I just automatically associated the 8% to cool. That's what I meant. Moo. Well in the ad I said that you can do the T16 to do the echoing. Like this setup can almost do the just fine. Like this setup. Sure, I have ancients, right? But like I'm not even augmented. So like the purpose of my ancients are not really like the ancients. But I can do like a and the other reason to why people cannot get the whisper to 125 is because you click the pylons too early. So for example, if you use the Dawn way, right? So let's say you don't even have a Yang's way yet. People use the Dawn way. The one thing that people do that because you want to get out of a whisper like ASAP, right? People like to get out of the whisper at like 126 exactly or 128, 129. Well, the exact 126 is best for hardcore mode, right? I mean, not that I play hardcore, but I would want to get out as soon as possible. So if you want to get out as soon as possible, you would click the channeling pylon very quickly, right? If you're using the Dawn way. So like I can even show like a echoing nightmare. Like I mean, I can show two different ones if you want. But the idea is that if you use the Dawn way, you don't have to click the like the so if you use this way without like resource you may have it. Yeah, so anyway, my point is a lot of people who play this way with the Dawn and the Satchel, for example, and then they have Dark Heart on, right? So one is you can choose not to have Dark Heart on, you can have the other rune on instead. The other thing that people do wrongly or they want to get out faster is that they click the channeling pylon right away. And I get that it's fine. It's fine to do it, but the problem is you don't actually need to do that. And when you click the more pylons you click early, right? The more pylons you click early, the like you don't reach your intended GR number. So let's do the echoing with this T thing. Of course, I haven't done this in a while, right? But this is the T16 setup. Okay, basically T16 setup. I can do it. I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but I can go. And on the Yang's way, you can strafe a lot already. So I have to go find the machines because I stayed in the middle. Like, there's no reason to click the pylons, right? You can just play them later. And I got a bad map, right? I mean, this is probably like a decent showing because it's a bad map. So if you want to click, you can click at 100. You know, you don't have to click them like this early. Just wait until 100. So this is the T16 setup. But of course, I may not be using Buna the Hoarder, right? You can just swap out the Buna the Hoarder. So obviously, when I say T16, I no longer use Buna the Hoarder. So if you're using Buna the Hoarder, you have to shift it away because then you're just, you know. So yeah, so now I can start clicking. My DPS is not great either on the T16 side. So I have to click the power early because I am weaker. My weapon is not ancient, by the way. My weapon is not ancient. So it's not always. Yeah, this is a basically T16. The passives are not pushing. I even made it to the goblins. Well, close enough to the. Yeah, the passives. No extra cheat deaths that people will also try to do. No call the weak that, you know. And I'm using a dead skill. Like I didn't vault that time when I could have vaulted, right? And then I'm using a non-ancient weapon. So the idea is just like if you get a better map, it's gonna be easier than this. In this map is actually a good showing because this map is a blocked, like very blocked off, you know. And then I got proc just now at the end there because the T16 is a little weaker. But you just click the channeling at like 100, and then you click the power at 105. Well, you click the speed at 105. So channeling 100, well, around 100, you click the channeling, which you say you did, right? So all you do is just click this one and then click the speed at 105 and then click the power at like 108 to 113, something like that, and then click the conduit, or you reverse it. You click the conduit at around 113, 110, right? You click the conduit at 110, you kill a lot of stuff, and then go for the power at like 115 or something. Basically, don't take two at the same time. If you want to reach 125, don't click two at the same time if they're early. So let's say you have to click the conduit at 105. right? Play the conduit more than halfway before you take the power. If you click conduit and the power at 105, sure, you can still reach 126, but you're taking a huge risk, basically. Basically, you're really hoping that you exactly hit 126. When the earlier you click the conduit and power at the same time, you're you're gonna risk the 126, basically. And and the only reason you do so, a lot of people need to understand this. When you play the pylons, right? The earliest you do depends on the build, right? So like the Crusader, and depending on how many Petroglyph Screams you want to do in a row. If you want to do so when somebody's under geared, you definitely don't want to click two pylons at the same time unless you click them late. So obviously, if you click the conduit at 110 or 115, you can click both the 150. You can click the conduit and the power at the same time at 115 to get to 125 even faster, right? You can click both at the same time. But the earlier you click each pylon, so like let's say you click the channeling at like 80. Let's just example. Like someone clicks the channeling at 80, and then they click the speed at 85, and then they click the conduit at 95, right? That is too early for the conduit, 95. And then they click the power like right away after the conduit at 95, they just go straight to the power. So when you play the double too early, then you risk the conduit ending too soon or even the power too soon to where you hit to the 122, and then everything suddenly drops and slows down. So you actually want the slowdown to be as late as you can. It's not about people are like, oh, you click as late because are you hunting for the goblin shrine? It's not to do anything necessarily to do with this. It just depends on the build. So the other thing about the builds are that people play the Crusader, right? For example, in the Crusader way, people play the pylons with the channeling so and the speed, for example, is to speed up the numbers, the automated raising GR tier number, because the Crusader is very strong and its area effect, and they want consistent um like activation of their belts, right? So that is different. If you want the activation of your belts or whatever the build does, you click the pylons straight away to accelerate this. And that's what people do. You click two pylons as early as possible is to accelerate the number. But if you're worried about the 126, right, then you should not necessarily do the acceleration. You should think about the timing of when you need what. So for example, if the person is using the Dawn, not you, but like if a person is using a Dawn and they're struggling with the channel with the resource at the end, which they shouldn't. They actually struggle early. So when people struggle early, they press early. It's too narrow-minded, short-sighted, too short-sighted. Because in order to strafe without Yangs, you actually just tap strafe, just tap like this. All you do is this at the beginning without Yanks. When you have a Dawn, like I can show it, a lot of people just press their strafe like as though they. Oh shoot! I have to spam on rings. I forgot to spend.
Fortune favors the bold. Well, isn't that nice? I can't carry any more.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I was just trying to show the thing anyway. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, 2 of 16. I'll show the Dawn way.
I require a new skill.
Really? What is that? Need to spend before I got
You
a
look
second
like you're
issue
in
again.
some of,
Chess
interesting.
pieces.
You come back again. What? I didn't even know I had that.
I need to make space, but that's fine.
Fate smiles, and don't forget, luck always changes.
Okay. So that was 5 of uh 32 chess. Okay. So let's go to the Dawn way, right? A lot of people click their channeling, you know, like early. You don't even have to. So this is the Dawn way, right? This is the Dawn way. So I'm using Dark Heart, right? So all you do is just sit here. This is the better open map, right? Just sit here, you know, and then you just tap. You just tap strafe.
You won't survive that.
You just tap strafe. People struggle with resource. Just tap strafe. Just move when you need to move. You don't need the channeling pylon.
That was just a taste.
You just tap strafe. This is the Dawn way. I don't need the channeling pylon. I even revealed the channeling pylon first.
I'm still waiting. Do you want more?
Just tap strafe. I'm not even using Topaz in the helmet.
Need more time. Not ready yet. Your fear betrays you.
Yeah, and then now you can start strafing, right? Because it's like GR like 90.
I'm still waiting.
This guy. That guy's a reflector. That's a little annoying.
Not ready yet.
Yeah, see? Nice. Congratulations. See, I'm playing the
Still waiting.
so I click the I can click the speed now if I want 105, right?
Need more time. That was just a taste.
So then I can click the channeling at 112.
Not ready yet.
And then if you want to click the conduit now, you can because you're almost there already, right? And then all you do is play the conduit as best you can, right? Don't target the boss with the conduit. Just target the regular stuff. And then I'm already at 120 something. So then I click the power.
Feel my wrath. Need more time.
The goblin thing is just a bonus. The timing of when you click the conduit and power matters.
I'll get
The
accustomed
goblin
to
is
it.
just a bonus. But most people click the channeling early because they strafe really like they play strafe like as though you're playing the GR pushing.
Not ready yet.
See? It's just a bonus. Materials. I mean, if you want materials, this is the other way, right? So yeah, I didn't have too much issues on the resources. Yeah, just tap strafe. Just tap strafe in the beginning. Like this. So see, I am losing resource now because I don't have any monster, right? But you can see that the hatred regen is going. You just have to like tap because in the proper build, in the proper pushing build, if you're playing the push for your echoing nightmare, you have a lot of damage in the beginning for the GR 1 through 80. People just tend to hard strafe like this. They hard strafe like this in the beginning for the GR 1 to 80.
Not enough hatred.
Then it's the same thing as doing GR like too low GR and you struggle with hatred. It's the same concept. You don't need to hard strafe for the first 1 through 80. Yeah, it's the same concept. So a lot of people just click the channeling way too early. You just have to step up like a staircase. Like take the pylons like a staircase. Staircase method. You don't have to click all four. You click all four is to play the 126 exact. But then you take a risk. If the map is bad, then it's a huge risk. If the map is good, you can click all four every time and you can make the 126 no problem. But when the map is bad for the build, then it's a risk. Intelligence. But yeah, that's just the funny thing about the echoing, the echoing nightmare. That's but yeah, it's fun when the echoing nightmare just takes a little bit, and also of course if you're lower paragon, which you are, right? So when when the altar asks you to do the Petra Scream, you don't have to do it that early. Now, if you want to unlock like at the earliest time, right? A lot of people want to unlock it even earlier than that. So like you're at Paragon 800 basically. A lot of people don't even want to wait until Paragon 800 to well, if they get their Paragon Scream early enough, right? So they just want to get their earliest altar unlock, right? When you do the earliest altar unlock, especially that, you know that you rely on the conduit and the power the most. So depending on the damage at the earliest possibility, right? When they have a full build, they want to do the Echoing Nightmare to the 125, well, 126 exactly, then you want to staircase the pylons. Especially start the earliest pylon the latest. That's why people find it funny when I type in the chat when I have like a specific funny um answer to how people do the Echoing Nightmare instead of like, oh, just click all four pylons at like GR100, let's say, and you should be able to get to 125. Yes, generally yes. That is the most simplistic form of exactly 126 that you need. But in the bad maps, and if your skill bar rotation is not smooth, you're not necessarily gonna get to that 126 because uh something blocked you, something body blocked you, or the build like takes too long to get from one machine spawning and exploding stuff, right? From one side to the other side. You have to reach from one side to the other side, right? Then at that point you need a speed pylon in that moment. But you didn't have the speed pylon because you clicked them early, right? You click them too early, even in the staircase method that I said. So in the contrary to the staircase method, you have to staircase in a certain way that you think you know how to use each pylon for the strength of its use. That's why it's the staircase. So in the case of people who use the Echoing Nightmare, where they fail is that they pick up all four pylons and feel the damage from the all four pylons and the movement from all four pylons. But when the pylons all drop at the same time, so they fall off at the same time, that's a risk at the end. Same with hardcore, in fact. Like in hardcore, you still want to pick up the conduit like closer to the ending number that you wish to escape, because then you can, or whatever, because you want to hide in a corner with the conduit zapping, right? With the conduit zapping in a corner so that nothing can get close to you, right? In hardcore, I mean, that's just me, that's the strategy that I would